Hi everyone, it's Guillaume from Startup Basecamp. Welcome to the Tech for Climate podcast. During the show, you will have the opportunity to meet the best climate tech founders, investors, and experts from both Silicon Valley and around the globe. They will share with you their stories and personal journeys into this growing and exciting industry, giving you some insight into the ecosystems that help you to take part in the fight against climate change and benefit from the opportunities it can represent. The podcast is divided in two small interviews. So in the first part, you will get to know our speakers, their perspectives on the climate crisis and how climate tech is changing the game. The second part of the discussion will be for members of our community who will learn the speakers' secret sauce on how to and share with you their unique expertise on topics such as fundraising, management, strategy, and so on, to help you to become a better leader in your field. So before we start, I would like to quickly share what we are doing at Startup Basecamp to support climate tech founders in accessing resources and gaining visibility with investors they seek. Our initiatives include a membership-based community platform offering access to a dedicated Slack group with a growing number of founders, experts, and investors from around the world, and a series of exclusive content such as interviews, weekly job listings, events, and our quarterly online pitch of night opportunity. But more than a place where you can learn, exchange, and grow, we are building a matchmaking service to facilitate connections between our members and top investors and experts in the field. And soon, alongside with other top investors, we will be launching a small fund to co-invest in the growth and acceleration of our members. Finally, all of this is possible because of your support and donations. We are a small self-funded team, and we want you to be part of this collective movement against climate change. So please share one episode with a friend and subscribe to the channels. As an added bonus, we will plant a tree for each of our subscribers each time we reach 1,000 new fans or donors. Do not hesitate to connect with me via social media or email guillaume@startupbasecamp. Thanks a lot for listening. I hope to get in touch with you soon. And now, let's go for the show. Hi everyone, during this special episode of Founder Series, we're sitting down with Beth, Zonis, Senior Director at the Cleantech Open Northeast chapter, and 4 of the finalists for the 2022 program. The Cleantech Open is considered the world's oldest and largest cleantech accelerator, providing entrepreneurs and technologists the resources needed to launch a successful cleantech company. This was the second time we had Beth and the winners of the Cleantech Open Northeast chapter with us on the show, and it was great to learn about the new companies going through the program and hear about their journeys and startups, their challenges, and market potential. During the episode, we will hear from each of those incredible founders and how you can get involved in their exciting innovation to fight climate change. We'll start with John Ireland, founder and CEO of NTP Technologies, a startup aimed at reducing and eliminating synthetic nitrogen fertilizer, providing farmers cleaner and greener alternative that is organic, salt-free, and produced on-site and on demand. Then Ian McKendry, Senior Research Scientist at ItNano, a startup focused on advanced manufacturing of energy storage material aimed at creating more energy and carbon-efficient cathode for batteries. Following by Bohdan Radjeko, CEO of Cassava Engineering, a startup that has created a more powerful and efficient transmission that allows smaller engines to perform as well as larger engines and reduce greenhouse gases. Finally, Skylar Bagdon, CEO of Verde, a startup that has developed solar panels that are 10 times lighter in weight and more flexible than currently available rooftop panels. Beth, John, Jan, Bohdan, and Skylar, welcome to the show.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Tech for Climate podcast. We are super happy to have you here with us today for this new episode of our Founder Series. As last year, it's going to be a bit a special episode, a quick pitch format in collaboration with Cleantech Open Northeast chapter and with Beth, Zonis, who is here, and 4 incredible finalists and founders of the program 2022. So already to all of you guys, congratulations. Very exciting to hear your story. And let's start with the show. So first, we're going to start with Beth, who's going to tell us a little bit more about the Cleantech Open. Beth, can you please give us a 30-second introduction?
Sure. Thank you, Guillaume. And it's always so much fun to have everybody here together to really celebrate all of our startups who have done an incredible job this year. And we wish them all great success as they launch their businesses. Cleantech Open is a national accelerator, and I run the Northeast region for Cleantech Open. We call it Cleantech Open Northeast. It's run by NECEC, the Northeast Clean Energy Council, in the Northeast region. And the Northeast in our definition goes from Eastern Canada, Maine, south through Pennsylvania. So we cover 9 states. And people also come from outside of our region in order to participate and grow their businesses in our region. The program is like a mini MBA with lots of mentoring, expert mentoring, lots of professional connections and introductions, as well as the opportunity to get one-on-one coaching from a variety of experts in the industry. And there's an online curriculum, cash prizes at the end, introductions to various types of investors, and we don't take equity. So the startups are really just with us during that 5.5 months, and then we try to stay in touch, and we hope that we will stay in touch, especially with these 4 who are really on the road to great success.
So I heard it's a long story already, the Cleantech Open, and started out of MIT. Can you tell us a bit more about like this initial journey? And maybe now you can tell us like really who should come to pitch you guys, and how should we apply successfully to join the program?
Of course, yes. So Cleantech Open started in 2005 at MIT. It was a spin out from the MIT Enterprise Forum, and the original name was Ignite Clean Energy. In 2006, a similar group formed in the Bay Area, and in 2011, we merged as Cleantech Open. In 2014, NECEC took over the Northeast region. So that's very quick history. In terms of what we're looking for, we look for what we call emerging clean tech startups, which could be really the clean tech part of it is really anything that satisfies an environmental need or provides an environmental benefit. So it could be a product, a service, a business model, or some combination of those. In terms of the emerging part, it's typically pre-seed, pre-customer. So we're looking for people who really need that extra oomph to build the business foundation of for their venture, and people who have, who are solving a real problem. So we look at market, solution, and team. Are they solving a problem that really needs to be solved? Do they have a solution that looks like it can work? And does the team look like they can really pull this off and attract other team members, partners, and funders, and of course, customers?
So I'd like to quickly double click on what you mentioned. So I'd like to understand, how do you guys measure impact? Do you have any specific criteria, maybe in terms of like CO2 removed or social impact? I mean, do you rely on a specific process or framework, or maybe scientists to gauge that? How does it work?
You found one of my favorite topics, is impact. We love to talk about impact in terms of how well our alumni are doing, but also how much. Let me give you some statistics. We have been measuring this, and recently we came up with some really impressive numbers. Since 2005, from 2005 to 2022, just in the Northeast region, we have 555 startups that we've trained. We know that 71% of them are still active, and that includes 14 at least 14, I think there may be more, but at least 14 successful exits. And so those are some pretty meaningful numbers. 71% is significant. That is way above the industry average. And then we also look at how well they're doing in terms of funds raised, how many people they're employing, and how much revenue they're generating. And I can give you those numbers too. So they have raised $1.05 billion plus, we believe, collectively. They are earning over $486 million per year, and they are employing over 3,100 people. So those are statistics about how they're doing. The other thing that we are tracking, and this is something that I love to talk about, is the environmental impact. All of our startups in the Northeast region are expected to go through an exercise that we call greenhouse gas emissions reduction potential. And we have the aggregate numbers from last year's cohort. They estimated that they would take the equivalent of 22 million cars off the road. And that is equivalent to 101 million metric tons of CO2 equivalent per year when they're at scale. So this is a future projection, but quite significant.
That's exciting. Congratulations to all of those founders and all the organization, the staff that have been supporting them, especially at the early stage, which is the stage where you need the most of of everybody to go to the next step. So maybe last question for us and for the audience, like when is the next batch and when can we start to apply?
Great question. So in terms of the next batch, so to speak, so the next cohort will be in 2023. And we will open up applications at the end of January, and we are almost ready. So keep an eye out on cleantechopen.org for that. I also want to mention one other thing when it comes to statistics, and I don't know if this is something that I assume your audience would find really interesting, is that we also, when we look at trends, we have noticed that of the top 10 startups that have graduated from our program throughout the decades, the top 10 who have raised the most funding are led by either a woman or a minority. So that is really significant. And this is a really significant thing to point out, especially in this day and age when we're all thinking about how do diversity, equity, inclusion, and justice play into the climate economy, and how can all of us make a difference. And what we're finding is that diversity makes a difference, and we are training all of our startups to think about this, and also to make sure that as they grow their teams, they are building their teams with more diverse people, and it should really help to make a huge difference in their productivity.
Thank you so much, Beth, for introducing the program and all this amazing work that you guys are doing. It's time, I think, now to jump into the quick pitch format. We're gonna start with NTP and John, who is here with us. So, John, are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready. How are you today?
Pretty good. Welcome to the show. So as I was mentioning before, we'd love to hear a 30-second introduction about NTP, the problem that you're solving, and for who.
Sure. My name is John Ireland. I'm the CEO of NTP Technologies. NTP Technologies is producing a nitrate generator that produces on-site, on-demand fertilizer as a substitute for synthetic fertilizers. Synthetic fertilizers produce about 1.5% to 3% of the greenhouse gas emissions in the world, and we're looking to reduce that dramatically over the next 10 or 12 years. Our current customers are what we call future farmers, which are vertical farmers as well as hydroponic and indoor growers. And the problem we're trying to solve is their ability to actually fertilize with something other than synthetics.
So can you tell us a bit more about like the genesis of your journey with NTP technology? Like why did you start it, and how, and what was the initial solution that you found that was filling this initial gap that you had?
Sure. A couple of years ago, actually, I started a hydroponic farm. We actually grow basil down in Maryland. And I found one of the issues was nutrient mix and actually trying to provide a suitable nutrient that didn't seem to be, that it was a little cleaner and more eco-friendly. And there wasn't really anything out there that we could use for our tables. So we started looking to other technologies, and we found a technology from 1910 called the Berkelandite process. And we're actually taking that and bringing it into the 21st century using modern technology in order to improve its efficacy and production.
So can you tell us, and you already mentioned that a little bit in the intro here, but like what is the current market? I mean, it sounds that you guys are targeting vertical farming. Where are we at today, and what's the projection for the next maybe 5-10 years from now? Like, how do you see this market trends, and how do you guys fit into that?
Sure. So right now, the synthetic fertilizer market is about $200 billion a year worldwide. Our current target market, which again is the future farmers, they're a little over $2 billion just here alone in the United States. We do see that since we're targeting the vertical farmers, they're growing probably about somewhere between 15 and 20% per year, year over year. People are concerned about food security. They also want to see their food production be a little more local as opposed to relying a lot on imports. The other thing is synthetic fertilizer is actually produced using natural gas. And natural gas prices are actually been just ever increasing lately. Plus, the unfortunate war in Ukraine is causing fertilizer production to be scarce and unavailable to a lot of countries.
So, can you tell us a bit more about, like, in terms of your technology readiness? I mean, are you guys able to flood the market today? I mean, where are you at in terms of like the prototype? Are you already like in pilot project with different farms? I mean, if you could like tell the audience where we are in the journey. I know that all of you guys are in the early phase of it, but where are you at today, and what needs to happen to go a bit more mainstream, I would say?
Sure. So right now we actually have what we're calling our lab model, which is about the size of a microwave. It produces enough fertilizer for approximately 2 acres of equivalent acres, we call it, because it's indoor farming. And our next generation, we're looking at producing a machine that probably produces around 100 equivalent acres. We're looking for funding for that next generation machine, even though we have designed it already. And we're currently in 2 pilot programs with our lab size machine.
So last question on my side, I would ask like a little bit in terms of go-to-market strategy and commercialization. Like, what is your advantage compared to the competition, and how do you see your next steps in that sense to when you're gonna have like the larger production facilities? Like, when do you think you're gonna be able to go out of that pilot phase, I would say?
Sure. So things take a while to grow, so testing takes a little bit of time. We are the 2 pilots right now are in process. We expect them to be done within the next month or so. We're also expecting to, once we get funding, we're looking at generating the next machine, probably take about 6 or 8 months to get that machine up and running. We have a couple of customers that are interested in working with us going forward. So that kind of gives us a little bit of a timeline. So we expect within a year we'll be sort of available for larger commercialization and starting to bring on full-time paying customers.
So stepping back, prior joining the program of Cleantech Open, I mean, what was like maybe like the challenges that you guys faced at the beginning of that journey with the Cleantech Open, and what in a way this the program maybe like helped you to overcome or to really like go to the next step? Do you have like any experience that you could share with the audience regarding your journey within a program as a founder?
Sure. So at the beginning, even the first year or 2 of any kind of new technology is a lot in the thinking, developing, trying to find markets, trying to figure out what the customers want, doing customer discovery, but you're kind of doing it a little haphazardly. Once we joined the Cleantech, we had a lot more focus on where our customers might be. We had a lot more push, you could say, from our mentors to give us the ability to really push ourselves as well and think outside the box. Sometimes you get a little close to these types of developments and you want to have some outside input. And mentors really provide really good outside input to kind of help you think a little differently about what you're doing.
So what's next for NTP technology?
Right now, since we were at the Nationals a couple of weeks ago, since then we've been talking a lot with several different investors, a couple of partners. We're looking to continue on our pilot testing and our development of our next machine. However, we are looking for a couple of individuals, somebody in maybe a chief science officer, someone in manufacturing, who's got some years of experience in manufacturing, as well as a top-notch salesperson in the fertilizer industry. They would all be great. Of course, we're always looking for money and partners as well, and also pilot projects. If there are people out there who have vertical farms or are listening in and want to test out our product, or please give us a call, get in touch with us. We'll be happy to set up and discuss what your needs might be.
Thank you so much, John. Anything that I should have asked you I didn't for this pitch?
Not really. I mean, we are trying to make a cleaner and greener world by doing like one drop at a time. We got to start somewhere, and the synthetic fertilizer market's definitely a big nut to crack in the world. You got to remember that without synthetic fertilizer today, half the population would starve. So we can't just stop producing it. So we got to find alternatives. And we're also very big proponents of others, things like regenerative farming, increased soil health, increased microbial content, all things like that help us farm in a more sustainable way.
Thank you so much, John. It was super interesting and exciting to hear what you're doing and all the progress that you have been doing. So I know that you have to go, so I will let you go, and maybe we can then move on with 8nano and Jan, who's here as well. Are you ready, Jan?
Yeah. Hey, how's it going? I'm Ian McHenry with 8nano.
Nice to meet you, Jan. I'm super excited to hear more about you. So, as we asked prior to the other founder, give us a 30-second introduction about 8nano. What's the problem that you're solving, and for who it is?
Yeah. So 8nano is a advanced manufacturer for energy storage materials. We have a particular focus on cathodes for lithium and sodium-ion batteries. So talking to battery and cell manufacturers, the cathodes are kind of a central driver, and what they need are high energy density cathodes that have low cost and low environmental footprints. So we've developed a new manufacturing technology which lets us cut the energy input and carbon emissions to make these materials by half while still delivering a state-of-the-art energy density cathode.
So can you tell us a bit more about how did you start the company in that journey? I mean, what was the initial challenge or gap that you saw that brought you to that journey and starting the first prototype, and where are you at today?
Yeah, so the company started and was spun out of a lab at Princeton University in the engineering department. And so we developed a new way which cuts down the production time to make these materials by 90%, significantly consolidating most of these steps into a single short processing step. This technology also enabled this unique chemistry, which allowed us to incorporate these protective in situ coatings to make more stable, higher energy density cathode materials. And so we saw that was a need in the market, especially with recent onshoring efforts, making materials in the best, most sustainable ways possible. And that is a solution that we address.
So can you tell us a bit more about the market that you guys are in? What's the size of the addressable markets, I would say, and how do you position yourself regarding that market? I mean, what are the steps to go full steam in that market?
Yeah, sure. So I mean, I don't think I have to go into too much depth about the battery market. It seems like on a weekly basis, we're seeing a new gigafactory pop up on the map. Just here in the US, we're well on pace to hit a terawatt hour of battery production capacity by the end of the decade. With that, we also have all these new specialty battery manufacturers popping up. Things like agricultural monitoring, high energy density drones, and those kind of more niche applications. So our material that we can make is perfectly suited for these high energy density, high power output applications. And so that's kind of an initial beachhead market for us, satisfying these kind of specialty requirements. And then later moving on to either to mass production for bigger applications like potentially EVs and grid storage.
Mm-hmm. And do you guys plan to, while going to market, like to license or your solution, or to go for like the full production yourself? I mean, what is the road in itself? Are you licensing to battery manufacturing companies?
Sure. So the initial market entry and way to prove the viability of our materials is direct sales to cell manufacturers, and then once we've proved out this new manufacturing technology to make these very high performance materials, we will then pursue later licensing routes to these larger chemical and battery manufacturers as they look to build and scale their facilities.
Mm-hmm. And do you have like, competitors, direct competitors, or other solutions that in a way are used today and that you will need to push out to insert yours? Or tell us a bit more about like the market dynamic that you're evolving on right now.
Sure. So the vast majority of cathode manufacturers use this old co-precipitation method, which has all these steps. Each are energy intensive, generate large amounts of wastewater, and that is something that we do not have a problem with in our process. Additionally, every other manufacturing technology out there needs these secondary coating and passivation steps, which is something that we can do in the same processing steps. So that is the unique advantage and value that our method delivers.
Mm-hmm. So can you tell us a bit more about this journey that you had so far? I mean, you mentioned that it came out of the Princeton labs, of one of the labs there. I guess like your idea of joining the Cleantech Open was probably to help you to accelerate or get maybe mentoring, or what was the initial challenges that you were facing in your journey, and thanks to this experience that you had now, you were able to overcome? You can share that with you.
Yeah. I think Beth phrased it well, where it was almost like a mini MBA program. Our core team are all engineers and scientists, so we're very good at developing technologies, but we had a lot of learning to do on how to develop these technologies with a specific customer pain point in mind. So it really helped us develop our value proposition, hone and focus our development efforts on specific customer pain points, and really target end use markets that meet our kind of minimum viable product that we are delivering right now.
And do you have, in terms of now, like this sales part of it, like do you start to have like letter of intention first, like order maybe, or is really like you're still like finalizing everything with the manufacturers?
Yeah, so we have an active collaboration and strategic partnership with a Internet of Things cell producer. So we will be delivering our material to them for their application for things like agricultural monitoring. And we've additionally have started additional strategic partnerships with other specialty high performance cell manufacturers. And we have received some letters of interest for our technology from larger chemical and battery manufacturers who are interested in developing the technology and incorporating it into their ecosystem.
So what's next for It Nano, Jan?
Scaling the process, scaling production, scaling staff, adding some additional business and operation expertise, bring some additional hands on board to help with the development efforts. Right now we are large lab scale pre-pilot, so we'll be we just started a funding round and are looking to close that in the next half year to bring in some funds so that we can build the pilot, be able to deliver tons per year, show the viability of the process, and then deliver material for partners to test or incorporate into their manufacturing lines.
So how can the community of listeners, investors, founders, experts listening to the show today can help you?
Well, we're always looking for contacts and collaborators. So, if you're a battery company out there looking for a high energy density or high power output cathode, let us know. If you're a large chemical manufacturer or investor looking to support advanced manufacturing technologies for making these advanced materials that are going to power next generation clean tech solutions, give us a call. If you're an academic or national lab looking to develop and commercialize next generation energy storage materials, we'd be happy to talk and work with you.
Thank you so much, Jan. Very exciting to hear. I'm super excited to hear all of this progress on what you guys are doing. Thank you for sharing that with us today, and good luck for the next steps. Now I'm going to invite. You're welcome. Now I'm going to invite Bodan with Cassava to join the quick pitch.
Yes, hello. My name is Bodan Radejko. I'm CEO of Cassava Engineering. And we work on transmissions, meaning gearboxes. Most people think of reducing greenhouse gases by reducing or making a cleaner engine. Nobody thinks about transmission. The gearbox is necessary to move anything on land and sea. So we have worked out a solution where we took all the bits and pieces of a conventional transmissions that usually break down or are inefficient, and came up with a very compact mechanical, what we call a mechanical variable transmission. Large vehicles and locomotives and harbor vessels especially need to reduce their greenhouse gas emissions. And today's electric and fuel technology is not economically viable for these large vehicles and vessels. So existing transmission solutions are also very big and inefficient because they need to handle a lot of torque, but its old technology is still there. There hasn't been a push to make them more efficient. So Cassava as transmission solution, we enable a smaller engine to perform the same task as a large engine because we can multiply the torque that it produces early and allow it to do so more efficiently. That reduces greenhouse gas emissions today with using a smaller engine, be it diesel or petrol or whatever. In the future, when energy density in battery technology increases, we can use our technology and enable smaller electric or other clean fuel motor solutions to also have energy efficiency in the future. Because that today's electric motor, especially in transportation, using only one gear is clearly inefficient. And we have a transmission that can make them work really well.
So thank you so much. I didn't even had the need to ask you a 30-second intro. You started directly, so thank you, thank you for that. So maybe I'd like to take a little step back here and kind of understand if you could share a little bit like how did you jump into that that journey? Like what was this initial gap that you saw, and in a way what made you or gave you an edge to be the one producing this new transmission
Well, it's actually a long journey, and it started out in Ukraine with our chief engineers. They used to work on big off-highway vehicles and produced and designed transmissions for them. They later left these companies and came to me and my partner. And we had some good traction on big interest in Ukraine in this large sector, especially with locomotives. Then COVID came, and then the war came, and we had to really abandon all the stuff we had there and take the hard drives and the know-how. And now they are in Germany. We managed to get them out in time. We have still one engineer left in Kharkiv. We have been able to communicate easily until recently when electricity has become a huge problem. So we hope to get him out soon as well. I myself, and on the US side, the management, I used to travel back and forth a lot in the past 20 years. But doing other things as well, of course. But now here in the US, and we're looking for sort of a way to restart again, and that's our challenge.
But thank you for sharing this amazing, I would say, roller coaster journey, which is the case for many founders. But it sounds that yours it's definitely like a different magnitude of it. So congrats on like keeping believing and pushing on what you do. So I'd like to understand a little bit more about like now this technology that you developed there. Like where are you in terms of commercialization, and what is the path for that as well?
Yes, as I said, this solution is completely mechanical. And so it does not have any of the energy sapping hydraulics or things that wear out like clutch discs and dog clutches and synchronizers. We have found a way to do it in a way that doesn't wear down the moving parts very much. In terms of where we are in this TLR, we have a close cooperation with a locomotive refurbisher, and we expect to complete the first 2 pilots of 80-ton locomotives that are used in rail yards. In America, they're called switchers. They move wagons and cars back and forth, so there's a lot of stop and go. And it's exactly at that slow speed that so much fuel is spent with very little efficiency. What is at rest wants to stay at rest. What is in motion wants to stay in motion. So getting it over from staying to moving needs a lot of energy. And what we can do is we can multiply the torque or the push that the motors produce at very low RPM, and therefore we can use a smaller one. But in terms of where we see the future, we have a good traction with locomotive refurbisher in Europe. And we have, as I said, the goal is to finish 2 full-scale pilots of 80-ton locomotives by early summer. And then after that, we will scale up with this manufacturer or refurbisher. We're also looking for similar opportunities here in the US, and especially in terms of harbors where you have tugboats, you have also locomotives, you have diesel operated cranes, and we have interest there to convert that into electric.
So last question on my side before sharing your experience during this Cleantech Open journey. How defensible is your technology? I mean, did you patent it? Do you really, is it based on the know-how of your team? I mean, who is like in the market right now delivering like similar process that could be in a way a threat for you, or maybe a partner to work with in the future?
Yeah, well, in terms of patent, everyone scratches their head when I say, well, we filed a patent in Ukraine because we were in Ukraine, and that was before the war. So we are about to file a second patent this month. And we are now working with the US Patent Office to file the patents here in the US as well as in Europe. So we're a little bit behind on the patent track. We want to accelerate that as much as we can. In terms of the defensibility, yes, we know, anything mechanical can eventually be copied, but we want to be in an area that is sort of marginal to the big manufacturers, at least at start, till we have enough demonstration projects. And at that point, we're looking for partners, maybe some of the big gearbox manufacturers, license the technology. We're absolutely, not saying, oh, we're going to conquer the world. No, we want to have some of the big guys on our side eventually, but not before we have showed them and proven that this is far superior to what they have today.
So what was the challenges that you were facing? And I'm sure many of them, maybe you can just take one or the two key experiences and in a way like that helped you during this journey with Cleantech Open, that really helped you to go to the next step now with the company.
Yeah, I would say it's similar to what Ian at Hitnano talked about. Most of us are engineers and very excited about our technology. Luckily, we have also a couple of people that understand that we need to look elsewhere. And with all this relocation, we came up with or learned about Cleantech Open. And I think it has been a huge help for us for all the reasons mentioned by the other companies here. It helps us focus. It's a mini MBA. I like that term. It really, truly felt like that. My summer, this summer I went to school, you could say. No, it helped us focus, and it sort of helped us become more refined and understand where is our realistic beachhead market and where do we want to go after that. Because very often you have the technology and you see, oh, I can use it there, and there. And then you lose focus. But Cleantech Open has really helped to sort of narrow down and defend, like John said, the mentors, they help you come up with reasons why you defend, why am I doing this? And usually, we think, why are we doing this in technology sense, but not in the way, why are we doing it to get to the market, or defend why we're doing it so that the market will see it for their needs.
So what's next for Cassava?
What's next? Well, we are looking for partners. I mean, we want to have good, reliable partners. We don't want to scale up too quickly, but we want to have partners we can work with on a medium to long term. And because we feel we need to be at that level before we get turned to potential investors. We don't want those investors to eat our lunch now. They can come later when we're better established.
So would you define the ideal partner that you're looking at?
It would be refurbisher of locomotives or shipyard company that needs to improve the efficiency and reduce the greenhouse gases of their clients' vessels, where we can produce a low number, 10, 50, 100 units over a 5-year period, and work with them, because often you need a bespoke solution to some of these refurbishment requirements in order to efficiently reduce greenhouse gases. You don't throw out the chassis of a locomotive, it lasts for 40, 50 years. The same thing with the hull of a boat. But to fit new technology in, you need to think and you need to work, and you have to with partners that are in that sector.
Thank you so much, Bohdan. Very excited to hear what you guys are doing in this whole journey that you went through so far. So, any question that I should have asked that I didn't for this?
No, I'm just waiting for fuel cell technology and battery energy density to increase, so I can not talk about piston engines, but show how it can work for big vehicles using smaller electric motors, and therefore address energy efficiency in the future.
Okay, but so the call is out there. So thank you so much, Bohdan. It was a very very interesting. So let's now let's go with Skylar and Verde for the last quick pitch.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. So my name is Skylar Bagdon, and I'm the CEO of Verde Technologies. So we're producing lightweight, flexible solar panels for the rooftop solar market. Now, our panels can meet or beat the efficiency and cost of traditional rigid panels, but in a form factor that is 10 times lighter and much less costly to install. So there are millions of rooftops in the United States and around the world that can't go solar right now because of the cost and complexity of installation. So installing the panels on a roof is like 70% of the cost of actually going solar today. It's because you have to puncture the roof, you have to put steel and sometimes concrete ballast systems up there to hold the panels. So what Verde is trying to do is dramatically reduce the cost of solar by adhering our flexible panels directly to roof surfaces, and doing that even on roofs that couldn't take traditional rigid mounting technology today. So we are supported by the Department of Energy, the National Science Foundation, the U.S. Solar Energy Technologies Office, National Renewable Energy Lab. The list goes on and on. And with those kind of high-powered partners, we see a pathway using what we call perovskite solar technology. That's the name of our technology, towards solar that is fundamentally higher performing. So we're shooting for 28% efficiency on our cells, and also lower cost. Now, obviously, that is a huge undertaking to take a large entrenched market like solar and try to beat directly on cost and efficiency. And that's why we're entering the rooftop market initially, differentiating on lightweight form factor as we work to reduce cost, refine our technology, and eventually lower the cost of solar energy for everyone.
So can you tell us a bit more, like how did you start that journey in the company? Like who is around you to build this those prototype that you just show us now? Tell us a bit more about this initial journey that you had.
Yeah, totally. So there are kind of two paths that led to Verde. And one of them is my path, and one of them is the path of the researchers behind the technology. So originally, the technology was developed at the University of Vermont by the chair of our physics department, Dr. Randall Hedrick, who worked at Bell Labs previously, where the first solar panels were created. And at the university, they developed some unique processes around manufacturing of thin films, and realized that they could produce not only really high quality cells at the lab scale, but that they could produce them using techniques that were highly scalable. So you see all of these articles about some breakthrough technology that they've created in the lab, but the question is always, can it scale? So what was unique about this technology was that it worked at the lab scale, but could also be scaled using existing printing and coding infrastructure. So we can literally use factories that are printing newspapers today, and we can print solar panels on that infrastructure. And so the technology was developed, but the researchers got to the point of saying, like, okay, what do we really do with this? Now, I dropped out of school many years ago to do a startup in the energy space. So was very much focused on technology-based entrepreneurship. And I met these researchers through my work in technology commercialization at the university, realized this was going to change the world. And so we joined forces. So me on the business side and researchers at the university on the technology side.
So it sounds very exciting about what you described. Maybe we can go a little bit more into the production process. Like, tell us a bit more how it works. I mean, you mentioned that using the same machinery that we do for printing newspaper, which is probably not something really in vogue anymore in a trend of printing newspapers. So probably your application will help them a lot. But tell us a bit more how it works and what is required in terms of change and necessity, because we all know that most of the solar panels are built and produced in China, more than 80%, I think, of the whole production. So how do you guys bring back to America? I mean, it's a big topic there.
Yeah, it's a super hot button topic. And so what's done overseas in China are very high temperature manufacturing processes. So it emits a lot of greenhouse gas emissions to refine traditional silicon solar technologies. What we're doing in the United States is low temperature manufacturing processes called roll-to-roll manufacturing. So we take a roll of a flexible substrate, we run it through machinery, and we deposit liquid layers. So we stack 4 layers on top of each other of different kinds of inks and allow those to dry. And what roll to roll means is that you have one roll of flexible substrate, you run that through and you print material on top of it, and it automatically rolls up into another roll at the end of the production line. And so what that allows you to do is it allows you to get very high throughput manufacturing with very little labor required. So the costs are really low. You're able to do it at low temperatures and at low cost. And so facilities that do this now, there are around 100 of them in the United States that do roll-to-roll coding. They do it for all kinds of applications, like I said, printing of newspapers, but printing of adhesives and beer labels is actually one of the products one of our partners has made, as well as a number of emerging membrane applications and other thin film applications. So it's the engineering process is well established, or the manufacturing process is well established. And now what our team is doing is trying to map our solar technology to meet the infrastructure that exists, so we don't have to build hundreds of millions of dollars worth of new factories to reach scale.
So that's where you're at today. I mean, I saw the prototype that you have here. It's really like the focus for you guys is really like to adapt these production assets, or do you have other things that you guys are working on in terms of like maybe increasing efficiency? You were mentioning 28%. That's the goal that you guys are looking at. Tell us a bit more like where you're at today before, I would say, scale and commercialization.
Yeah, so we are an early stage company, and it's important to be, to be upfront about that. We have big goals for the future. We have a lot of backing and support from, world leaders and experts in the space, but we are an early stage company. So we're in the process of trying to transition from, centimeter scale in the lab onto full scale equipment. So we're in that process right now. It's definitely not a solved challenge, but it's what we're working on. And where we are now in the process is the problem with perovskites. There are a few problems, and the main one has been stability and longevity. And so that has been our primary focus in development, is scalability of the manufacturing and also stability and durability. And so I'm not sure how much of it I can share publicly, but I'm happy to announce we have some, really promising data on stability and lifetimes that show it in the range of being commercially viable, which is hugely kind of revolutionary in this space, that we have stable cells that the manufacturing can be scaled for. And now we're trying to demonstrate that in full scale equipment. And our objective is to have our first pilot project completed within the next 24 months to get panels outside into the real world.
And how do you, maybe that's a, I would say like a beginner question, but how do you stabilize them and keep them onto the roof? I mean, if they're so thin, like, do you need like special equipment? I mean, it's clearly lighter. So I guess very good for a lot of like roof surfaces, but when there's a lot of wind and so on, like, are you able to keep them there?
Yeah, so we're focusing specifically on rubber membrane roof surfaces and metal roofs initially, because they're easier to adhere to. And there are a number of different adhesives that we can use to apply directly to the roof surface. And what ends up being a big benefit of mounting that way is there's no lips or edges for the wind to get underneath the way there is with a traditional panel. So they actually hold up much better in severe weather, and they're much less likely to fly off and create damage and hurt people, because there's no way for the air to get underneath them. And we have a number of kind of flexible, durable encapsulation technologies developed by 3M and Mitsubishi and a couple of other companies that we use to encapsulate our cells so they're durable to rain, hail, impact. And of course, there's always catastrophic events, a tree falling through the house that's going to break the panels regardless. But luckily, we have some technologies that make us pretty resilient to general weather and damage.
So stepping back in terms of the competition and with the defensibility of your solution, like, I mean, who is also, I guess the only one in the market right now trying to find and develop this kind of solution. How far are they compared to you guys? Who maybe are they like potential like collaborator in the future? And how do you defend your initial technology that you have there to make sure that you can take the part of the piece of the pie or the market share that you guys are looking at?
Totally, yeah. So one of our main kind of differentiators is most of our competitors are focusing on commercializing new technologies in the traditional rigid module format, which means that basically they have to win on cost and efficiency from day one, or nobody's interested in them because it looks the same as every other rigid panel. So one of our main differentiators is focusing on the inherent benefits of a flexible form factor. And there are lots of other flexible technologies, but they were generally very high cost and very low efficiency. So we're able to compete really favorably with other thin film technologies that are on the market as we work to increase our economies of scale and compete directly head on in terms of cost. And we have multiple patents that we've developed in-house, that our company's developed in-house on the scalability of manufacturing. And then we have an exclusive license with the National Renewable Energy Lab on technologies that relate to stability and safety. And so we do have a good intellectual property defensibility, but also I think a business strategy that allows us to compare favorably in our initial product offering in the flexible space, and allows us to get a toehold in the market and allows us to get the funding we need to scale up manufacturing. And I'll also say the Inflation Reduction Act and a lot of the benefits for domestic manufacturing give us a huge competitive advantage versus any kind of foreign companies in terms of importing. So that's also a huge competitive advantage, is where we're located and our focus on domestic manufacturing.
So if you can tell us and maybe share with the audience, like prior the program, what was the maybe one or two challenges that you were facing, and what how the program in a way helped you to go through it and learn from it and be a better version of yourself today.
Yeah, so I'll first start out by saying the Cleantech Open was just an immensely helpful program. So doing something of the magnitude that we're trying to do here, like creating an inherently better solar technology, is a huge undertaking. And it requires partners that have expertise in developing in fundamental science, as well as scalability of manufacturing, as well as deployment of solar on the large scale, private and public fundraising. And sometimes it's hard to build a team of people and surround yourself with a group that has that diverse of background and areas of expertise. And that's what the Cleantech Open did for us, was it pulled together a collection of mentors, advisors, partners that could help us build the technology, the business, the team, and then help to communicate that. And one of the most challenging things, I think, is that we are a very deep tech company that's trying to overcome challenges in fundamental science, but we're also trying to build products. So we're doing basically the job of a startup and the job of a research team simultaneously. And that's really challenging. And I think the hardest part is to be authentic about communicating what the risks are, but also be authentic about communicating why the data is promising, and why the impact is so huge that it's worth taking the risk. I would say that's the hardest thing for an early stage tech company. And I think one of the things that the Cleantech Open has helped us do better.
So what's next for Verde?
So this is an incredibly exciting time for us. So we're raising our first pre-seed financing round as we speak. We're raising around $3 million. We have about $1 million of it committed right now. Really focused on deep tech, climate-focused investors that have some knowledge and expertise in the space, so they can bring more than just capital, because we need a lot more than money to make this work. We need people that have deep industry expertise or technological expertise. We're also actively hiring right now. So we're hiring, if anybody has experience in thin film solar development or perovskite solar development, we're actively hiring. So please reach out. We're expanding the team all the time. We're up here in beautiful Burlington, Vermont. You'll love the hiking. It's wonderful. And we're also forming additional industry and research collaborations with established companies in the solar space, as well as research labs and facilities around the world. So if you're a company looking to break into the thin film solar space, you're already in the solar space, or you're doing research there, we're very collaborative and would love to work together. So,
anything else that I should have asked you that I didn't for this session?
Anything to ask me that I shouldn't? Maybe one thing is, Beth mentioned earlier, like, before we got on the call, that I'm generally a very energetic person. And I think that that's true. And I think that that's true because I believe that the work that I'm doing every day genuinely will have a massive impact on the fight against climate change. And I think we're at a moment in time where we have to realize that it's possible to bring new technologies to market. It's challenging and it's not straightforward, and there are questions that still need to be answered. Like, there are lots of things, but it is possible, and it's possible to do it on a timeline where we can have a real meaningful impact on climate change. That's what everybody here is doing, and I think that that's something to get excited about, and a reason to be a little giddy and energetic at times, because we really have the opportunity to make a difference here.
Thank you so much, Skylar, and thank you so much, Beth, and everybody, for your time and all of those very exciting projects that you are working on, and this incredible journey that you already did. So we're very excited to see how we can keep supporting you as well in the future, giving you the voice and maybe a connection that you would be interested in. So thank you so much for putting all of those efforts to move the ball towards a better and clearer world. So thanks for coming.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Guillaume.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Hi, it's Guillaume again. Thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed the show. As I said, do not hesitate to share an episode with a friend. Also, if you value the work we do for the climate tech ecosystem, here is how you can contribute to it. Today, I'm asking for your support and a donation or sponsorship to make the work of our self-funded team more viable. Even a small contribution means a lot to us. In any case, I will invite you to subscribe to our channels and visit our website startupbasecamp.org to discover more episodes like this one, and get your membership to access all our members' exclusive content. So remember, all of this is possible because of your support and donation, and we want you to be part of this collective movement against climate change. Let's keep in touch, and I hope you will enjoy our next show with us.